Yeah. Come on, man. That's my brother right there, Price. From the IE, Heather B.
IE, baby. Never heard of the IE till they came to the show. I ain't know what that was.
Come on, man. That new song is called Maya. Incredible frequency right there. The whole project is a vibe. Welcome
Sound
back
good.
to the show. Give it up for my man Price, ladies and gentlemen. Price.
Yo.
What up, family?
What
Long
up?
time.
How y'all doing?
We
Oh,
good,
We
bro.
good.
Blessed.
What's up with you, dog?
I'm amazing, man. Happy to be on the call. Just blessed. I can't complain.
Oh, man, I thought you was going to be like all the other rappers. I thought you was on the campaign trail with your favorite candidate or something, man. You not
Hell
taking
no.
pictures or nothing? Nah?
Nah, man. I mean, you know, if people feel inspired to go vote for one of these two, then by all means. But if you also feel inspired to hold your vote as a colored person, I respect that too. You know what I'm saying? It's like telling the people to vote for the devil or the demon. So that's how I feel.
Price is one of those, huh? Oh, my man, Price.
Yeah, I'm one of them. I'm one of them. Sway.
Yeah. You one of them? Damn.
Yeah.
Can I like? Yeah. So when things happen and policy is pushed in this country and certain elected officials aren't doing things that's going to benefit your community, what are you going to say?
I mean, I'm big on, obviously, you know, people voting for, you know, city, like things that affect the city.
Local
as far
elections.
as, you know,
So you big on okay.
I'm huge on local elections. I'm huge on just things that actually make a difference that we can control. To me, I feel like the people who have nothing to do with the like presidential votes and, you know, everything that goes at that level. As far as on the presidential scale, and I just don't rock with it. It's a circus to me, and you know, like telling people to just go vote for Biden just to get Trump out of office, but with Biden giving us nothing tangible, that's just not fair to me either. It's not fair to tell my people that when we colored, we've been voting for, you know, these Democrats all our lives. We just seen what Trump did. Like, it's like we really in a fucked up situation, but to be just pressuring our people to go vote for Biden just to get Trump out, that's sick to me. It's sick, you know, but to each his own. Color games.
It's interesting because you got an album. This is debut solo album. It's called Color. Give it up, man. It's on White Clef's label, Heads Music.
Yeah.
CLRD. And when I listen to songs like Uncolored, the song Colored, I listen to songs like Arrival. I listen to Don't Break, Mufasa, which is kind of like, to me, felt like more of it was like a meditative chant almost. That's the vibe that this is on. And this whole project, what I liked about it is you kind of talked about the living condition of black people in America, or the you know, you're breaking that down on why we do what we do. We spend money on pay-per-view before we would our necessities. You know, I listened to the whole album. I know all the lyrics, and so, but part of our living condition has to do with our politics, right?
I agree.
You know, and so that's why I think it's important that we stay engaged. You saved yourself with me when you said you at least vote in local elections. You know,
Thank God.
You see, because this project is, to me, you may not have meant it like it. It's kind of a love letter, and then it's also, to me, it's a call to action. It's how I took it.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
Speak on that.
Yeah. I appreciate you actually like dialing in and listening. It's most definitely a call to action. To me, our biggest call to action as a people is ownership. You know what I'm saying? Is legacy. You feel me? All the voting we want to do, all that we can go vote all day long. We can go campaign, we can go march, we can go do all that shit all day long. But without true ownership, without financial freedom, without real legacy, leaving legacy for your lineage, we in a rat race. And that's what the call to action for me is on that album. The reason why I started my own label, turned down major deals, put out my first solo album independently, not only independently with me and my solo label, but with Heads Music, which is the first female black-owned distribution company. You know, it's not just I signed with Wyclef. I did a partnership with Wyclef and Marilyn Nelson, which is the first black female to own a distribution company. You know what I'm saying? And to me, that's all the call to action. That's all the message that I'm sending with Color. You know, getting out here as a people and owning everything that we do. You feel me? Because that right there, to me personally, me, is more powerful than doing any political vote, anything. You know what I'm saying? We don't own nothing. Too many of us are dying without homes, without businesses, with nothing to leave to our children, nothing to leave to our youth, not even information. We ain't even leaving information, let alone nothing tangible. So that's what the call to action is, which is why I was showcasing so many great things about just being colored in America.
Mm-hmm. This is my man Price, man.
Yeah.
You have a song. What song was it that you talked? You said something really interesting. It might have been "Don't Break," Mufasa, where you were referencing what you would tell your son, and one of the lines is, "You can't trust all of your family. Some of them may leave you with all of the scars." Did that come from a place, or that's just something you've always heard?
So I mean, it definitely came from a place, but really, it was me really diving into the Mufasa record and the metaphor of utilizing Mufasa. So the reason why I even put that song on the album, like to me, The Lion King is one of the most spiritual movies of all time. I'm talking about top 5 of all time. Put it against Malcolm movies, put it against whatever you want. The Lion King, when you really dive into the messages in the movie, is all spiritual. Everything from the circle of life to Hakuna Matata, means no worries, everything to speaking to the ancestors, everything about that is African spirituality. And to me, like, that's the reason why I wanted to just dive into the lyrics, you know. I said, but you can't trust all of your family. Some of them might leave you with scars. Who was the corrupt family member in the movie Lion King, you know, trying to corrupt them, but they couldn't trust. You know what I mean?
Scar, okay.
Yeah, you feel me? But as well as obviously being colored in America, I've definitely dealt with being betrayed by family members and things of that nature, because we corrupt in our own different ways. You know, we all got battles. You feel me?
Yeah.
Growing up in this country, so when I'm disappointed by a family member, I just went off on one of my family members on the food truck yesterday, and I was disappointed more in him than myself, just because we just all broken, you know what I mean? And we all got different ways to level up and grow. So it's not like a thing where it's like, oh, you know, don't fuck with your family, but just stay aware, stay alert, because family don't mean nothing. You know, just your family is the ones who love you, who push love and life into you. Blood and all that don't make you family.
This is my man Price, man. New album. It's called Colored. His debut solo album. Hey, man, would you be open off mic to have a deeper conversation about politics and the importance of voting?
Of course. I mean,
okay.
With you, no question for sure. You know, I respect you, big homie to the max. So anything, any game you got to give me, I'm gonna take.
There it is, man. We got Mike Muse coming up with the political. Matter of fact, you should. I'm gonna play your song. Stay on and sit and listen to our political news.
Oh, that's dope.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Price hanging out with us. I love it. Okay.
No question.
Bringing you the news from around the globe.
The world should know what's happening.
Whether it's serious or just seriously weird.
We're going to continue to follow these developments and continue to cover this.
It's the Daily News on Sway in the Morning.
All right. And joining us on the political news is Price from Audio Push. Got his own solo project, Colored Out, CLRD. Great listening, Mike Muse. I know you're a hip-hop head, Mike.
Yes.
Okay, Price is going to hang out on the line with us for a second, Mike Muse.
That's exciting, man.
Absolutely. And we've been talking about voting ever since this morning, the importance of voting. I'm asking people not to call me if you're not decided, we can't help you. By now, you should do your own research. But most importantly, we wanted to give you what's going on logistically around the polling booths and some of the steps and measures you want to take to make sure your vote is properly counted before all of these suppressive tactics eliminate your opportunity to vote, Mike. And so, with that said, welcome Mike Muse, Hall of Famer.
Mike.
What up, Mr. Hall of Famer? The
Hall of Fame.
The Hall of Fame show is in the building.
Mike, I talked about that though, and this is not just this is just an educational thing. Price was talking about why he doesn't vote for the presidency. Price, tell Mike tell Mike, if you don't mind, your reasoning.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
What up, Price? Good to meet you, brother.
Likewise, family. So me, you know what I'm saying, as a 29-year-old colored kid in America, you feel me, young man in America, personally, I'm not inspired to just vote, especially for this presidential candidacy. Like, there's nothing as a colored person in America that's tangible coming from either one of these candidates that, like, directly affects our people. And to me, I feel like our people have been rushing down to the polls since I can remember and participating in this and not getting nothing tangible for our people directly. I'm not talking about minorities as a whole. I'm not talking about all that. I'm talking about black people specifically. What are either one of these people doing for us that is going to change our experience here in this country? You know what I mean? On a real level. Whether that's reparations, which I believe is the real thing. But if we're not even going to go that far, what are you going to do, though? That's realistic and tangible. And I hear nothing from either one. And so I don't feel no inspiration, personally.
Yeah. You feel a lot of other people feel out their Price. You're not alone in this dynamic of feeling that, your vote doesn't count, in particular around black people. A lot of black people feel like their vote just doesn't count. So if I can, brother, I'll just talk to you a little bit about what's at stake, and I'll talk to you about what's going to be the consequences if you don't vote. So I want to talk to you for a little bit about what will be taken away from you during this time period and what you have to gain under the two options that you have. So what does take to be taken away from you is health care. You're young, you're 29, you just probably came off your parents' insurance at around 25, 26. You said you're black. I don't know what you look like, but I'm black. I know a lot of people in my family have pre-existing conditions. That's diabetes, that's high blood pressure. High blood pressure due to salt intake. We have a lot of asthma, white people do. We have a lot of cardiovascular issues. Black people have hypertension, and we have extreme forms of arthritis. We also have just a lot of other preconditions, especially black men, possibility of prostate cancer. We get these conditions very early on. And so what's happening right now is that prior to President Obama being elected, so somebody elected President Obama because he stood on the platform of running for health care and to make sure everyone had access to health care and everyone had access to, if you had a pre-existing condition, that you can get treated and have health care. Well, as a result, what is at stake with this president, because the president appoints Supreme Court justices. So this president has appointed 3 Supreme Court justices. So now there was what we call a supermajority on the court, Price, which means Republicans have a three vote margin. So it's 6 Republican justices, just for conversation purposes, 6 Republican justices, 3 Democratic justices. There's a lawsuit, Price, that's going before the Supreme Court next week after elections for President Trump wants to remove pre-existing conditions. So because President Trump, who people voted, because people who felt their vote doesn't count, they did not vote, so they didn't vote, which means the vote went for Trump. Trump appointed 3 people. Those justices are now about to remove the provision that mandates insurance companies to cover pre-existing conditions. So if you have an aunt, if you have an uncle, if you have a cousin, if you have a brother, if you have a second cousin, if you have a play auntie who has any of those preconditions that I talked about, they won't be able to get insurance because the president put these justices in place that will now is positioned to take away your health care. You talk about voting. What's already in play due to the president appointing these justices is civil rights, Supreme Court, civil rights. It's as simple as a couple of things. Just think about voting, right? I don't know where you live exactly, Price, but if you think about a lot of the major metropolitan areas where black people are concentrated, let's think about Louisville, Kentucky for a second. That is the most black populous city in Louisville, Kentucky. You know what they did over there? They put, and because the Supreme Court has taken away the provision within the Supreme Court that allows for voter protection, they now, cities and states, don't have to confer with the Department of Justice in order to move polling locations, right? Polling locations has always been a part of voter suppression, has always been to stop black people from voting. They only had one voting location price for all the city of Louisville, Kentucky. I can also, too, talk to you about this notion of law and order. I don't know about you, but for me as a black man in America, that is my number one issue. That is the thing that I am most concerned about. I'm concerned about how police is accountable, the police approach to killing black people, in particular black men. They're killing black women too as well. But for me, myself, black men, this president is focused on law and order. This president is focused on police officers first, not even thinking about community as in black people at all. He has instructed his Department of Justice to take away any provisions where police had accountability, any previous task force that President Obama had put in place to make sure that police officers and police departments were changing up their departments, were changing up their routines, were changing up their accountability, changing up the way they handled and engaged with the community. He got rid of all of those type of actions and types of practices. So those are some of just the simple things that are just at stake when it comes to that. I believe, I don't know if you have a child or not, but I have nephews. I have godchildren who are in public schools, K through 12. And as a result of what this president, they appoint what's called the Secretary of Education. The Secretary of Education is in charge of all the public school systems within the United States of America. They're in charge of budgeting. They're in charge of what is standardized testing. They're in charge of curriculums, right? They have huge influence on that. This Secretary of Education has not put an emphasis on public education. They've actually taken away budgets regarding to public education, right? Also, too, as a result of the Secretary of Education not having a plan put forth in terms of how our kids can go back to school during COVID-19, it's been a patchwork, if you will, of a rollout, right? So my godchildren are now unsafe in schools as a result of that. My nephew is now not getting the resources and allocation that he needs to have a great funded public schools. I know you are in music and entertainment, and a lot of those individuals have money to have their kids into private schools, so they're not affected by this. But a lot of our folks just don't have that ability to send their kids to private school. That's what's at stake. Yeah. I hear your own solo project. You have your own record label. It sounds like, based upon how Sway just introduced you to me just now, the president is responsible for appointing what's called administrator to the Small Business Administration. That's United States Small Business Administration. What people don't know, how a lot of white people make money in America, in particular how they got into middle class America, is by federal contracts. What that means is that if you own your own company within construction, wiring, consulting, IT tech services, you can bid on federal contracts from the government. The government will give you those contracts. The SBA administrator is responsible in terms of how those contracts are given out, the priority, and the allocation of it. There's a program out there for black folks called the 8A program, right? So if you don't have that person in place who's appointed and selected, then the people who will constantly make money from that are not black people, but white individuals. So what some presidents, I don't want to talk about what's upcoming, but what President Obama was interested in doing was making sure black people had access to these federal contracts. And not only that, but making sure we had access to capital, to money to fulfill those orders. So those are just a number of things of how your vote does count and how your vote does matter. And so when you choose Price not to vote, what you're signaling is someone to give permission to vote on your behalf who doesn't have your best interest at heart, who's going to continue to vote for all those restrictions I just talked about to be taken away from Americans who directly affect people like you and your families, right? Your kids, your children, and also to people looking for entrepreneurship. So I could go on, but with the time.
No, that's good. That's good. I just wanted to give you.
That was amazing.
Wasn't it, Price? And so
that was awesome.
What I want to do is connect the two of you via text. If you're cool with that, and Mike, if you're cool with that, and maybe, when you make those decisions, like, I don't know if you knew all of that when you made your decision. No. Okay, cool. So that's okay. I'm the kid in the classroom. When I didn't know, I raised my hand. What does that mean? A squared plus B squared?
Yeah, me too.
Right.
Yeah, I'm that dude.
And I'm the one that was happy somebody asked.
If I don't know. Yeah, I have no problem being clear if I don't know something. I knew some of those key details you mentioned, and there was details in there that I didn't. I would love to, be more educated on a different conversation when we, have more time or whatever. But yeah, that was all incredible info.
Okay, so I'm gonna connect
Bring
y'all.
me
Hey,
enlightenment.
man, and let me tell you this. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you, young man. I appreciate your willingness to be open for proper information. Even though Mike told you, and I know it's right and exact, I want you to still look it up for yourself and learn that. And then it's better for us to make more educated decisions on issues as important as voting. And a lot of us, including myself, Price, for the longest time, I was on that same vibration. And then I said, man, let me go see what this is. I didn't want to show up and take a picture with a guy for one day, show up and have a 2-hour meeting, take a picture and post it. That's not me.
Yeah.
I went on campaign trails. I followed folks. I studied policy, 75 pages at a time, to make sure I understood exactly what Mike Muse is saying. I forgot it now. It's almost like taking French in high school and you don't remember nothing that you studied. But I don't remember all of it. But that's why Mike Muse is here. But I'm gonna connect y'all, and I want to say I appreciate you. I have so much respect for you for sitting on the phone and being open to information. This is Price. I want everyone to follow. So you want people to follow you at The Price, or where you want them to follow you at?
Yeah. On Instagram is The Price. Y'all could go get Colored out now on all platforms. Like I said, it's independently all black owned, female black owned. Everything we doing. Boy Wonder on the album, Tone Stiff on the album, G Preek on the album, Candace Boyd on the album. I appreciate all y'all. Sway in the morning, had to be the whole team. I love y'all to death. Thank y'all for the game.
Thank you.
Thank y'all, Mike,
Absolutely.
for the information. Iron sharpens iron, man. I'm here to get my show as sharp as it could be. I thank y'all.
No, you're welcome, brother. And one quick note, Price, Sway, as we close, Price, tonight, Price, I'm going to have an Instagram live session with one of your colleagues, one of your rappers. I'm not going to give the name. I'm not going to post for a half hour. I know he's going to show up because rappers have let me down. I'm not going to call her out. But you can join me at 8 o'clock on Instagram Live. I'm going to do a deep dive into all of this, Price, with your fellow colleague.
Is that amazing? I'm going to be on the live. You can 100% count on me being on that live. So in case you do, I'll be there. Ready.
There it is. Okay. Hey, he'll be ready, Mike. And you can ask him and what he does, what Mike does is really cool. It's like any question you have, any question, like why do they do this? Why do they do that? He'll break it down.
What I'm gonna ask on the live, and then we can end it here, because I heard a lot of why not to vote, or why we should go vote. What it sounds like, not for Trump. So I would love to hear, Mike, why we should go vote for Biden on the live tonight, if that's a thing. I don't know if you're directly saying who we should or shouldn't, but I would love to hear some information as to why Biden is who we should go vote for. So I'm going to be on that live tonight.
Okay, looking forward to having you on, brother.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you guys
Clock
for
is ticking.
All right, man. That's what's up, man. My man Price. Hey, the new album is called Color, CLRD.
Thanks,
Check that out. All right, Price, be safe, man. I just connected y'all on text. My man Price, he got a great project, too.